Hey everyone, welcome to Mike's Trains and thanks for joining me for another video. We're going to start yet another building in a new series for yet another building. These are all in preparation for the city rebuild that's going to go on that I put out a teaser for. So in previous you saw I built a strip mall. And I redid my Shell gas station. And if you haven't seen those, please, by all means, go check them out. In this series here, we're going to start with this. This is a DPM kit from Woodland Scenics. And it's the Hilltown Hotel. The hitch for this is it's not going to be what you see in this picture. You can take a look at it, maybe this, yeah. So there it is, and this is not what it's going to be. It's going to be a little unrecognizable as to what you see here. I'm going to turn this building into a used car dealer. Okay, this is going to be the Car King used cars. This is what I've been wanting to do, some sort of a car dealer on my layout. And this is the opportunity to do it. A little bit of background on this is that I'm doing actually another building on the layout, and I needed two of these to build that building. That's another Kitbash building that's going to be coming up after this series. But what I'm using to build this car dealer is what I don't need for the other build. So what we have here, and this kit now only has the parts that I need pretty much just for this used car dealer. So what we have is, we don't need that. These are all the window glazing, which we're going to use. This is the roof panel. We can throw those to the side. What else have we got? This is the back wall. And what I'm actually looking for is the front wall, because that's the one we really need. And that is right here. This is what we're going to be working with. These are cleats to put on the back of the wall here. They go across like this and they hold the roof on. So we can throw these to the side along with the roofing. This is the front door that goes to the place. Chances are I don't think we're going to be using this either. So that'll go into my parts bin. These go with that front door. We don't need any of that stuff. This is the piece that we're really concerned with. And I've already marked off. I don't know if it shows on here. Let me give you a closer look. I've already marked off on this. You can see I have pencil marks along here and pencil marks across the top. Alright, those are kind of important because what I'm going to do is we're going to take my razor saw and I'm going to cut off this bottom set of windows, and then we're going to come on top, and there's a cornice molding across the top here, which I really like, but this is very high. So when you're looking at it, you have the molding that's right here. There's another trim strip that goes across the center, and then you have this part here above the windows. We're going to cut this off in the middle. So let me get my saw, and we're just going to jump right into this. I'm going to start with the bottom. So I'm going to cut this right off at the top of this molding right here. I want this piece here, I want all of this, and this molding here. Because it's the Car King used car dealer, I figure I'm kind of picturing in my mind Boss Hogg from Dukes of Hazzard, big fat guy, with way too much personality, and I can almost envision the TV commercials that would be on. So I'm envisioning something a little regal. Since he calls himself the Car King, I'm thinking something a little over the top. So that's where we're going with this. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take my razor saw and I'm going to place it right up against these parts here, and we're just going to cut. There we go. Like that. Okay, so here's the bottom half of the bottom half of the front wall. We'll set that to the side. Now we got to cut off the top. Now the top, like I said, there's a little trim piece right here. I'm actually going to cut that. Well, let's see. If we put this in here. Yeah, you know what? We're going to go with the whole thing. I'm going to cut this right at the top of this bottom trim directly above the windows. So we're going to cut that here. Like this. Okay, so here we go. So now we have both pieces freed up. Now this piece here will go into the scrap bin along with this front door. All of this I don't need. I don't even think I'm going to use this back wall. I think we're just going to use this front wall here. And then this is going to get attached right up on top of this. See, now we have a much shorter building, but we still end up with the look of the building, and it's a little more, to me it's kind of castle-like and appropriate for somebody called the Car King. Alright, so now we need to smooth out these edges here and this edge here so that we can attach those together. So what we need, we can get rid of this, put that away. And then we need a piece of sandpaper. So I have 120 grit right here, and I'm just going to run this on here, keep it as straight as I can. I just want to make sure that it's straight and level across. I don't want to take off a ton of material. There's no need to. Just want to get it cleaned off so that it's nice and neat. And then we'll do the same with this one. You can see the back line where the saw, where I cut with the razor blade as opposed to the saw. So I'm just going to do the same on this one. So now you can see we have a nice straight cleaned up edge here. Now when we take and put these together, these should fit quite nicely right in there, just like that. And then we have a nice little building facade. Alright. So at this point we're just going to add, I'm going to sand this a little bit more because I'm looking at this and I'm seeing small gap down at this end. I want to make sure that these fit tight. So I'm going to sand this piece a little bit more at this end. You don't need to go a lot. You just got to make sure that everything's going to sit flat. Yeah, that's much better. Okay. So now we can put this together and move on from there. So let me get this mess cleaned up and then we'll start joining everything together. Alright, so I have my gluing glass here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat blade before I go too far, and I'm just going to go down the back side of this. I want to get anything that's raised up off of there that could potentially interfere with how this is going to glue down. So I'm just going to scrape down the front edges so that ends up being nice and clean, and then the same with this one. Alright, now we're going to get out our weld and we're going to put this together. And I'm going to do this face up like this. I don't want to put the finished face on this down to the glass because the glue here will melt this and do bad things to it. So I don't want that to interfere at all. Now we'll just take this and run it down the seam. Alright, I think that's all we need. This stuff should be pretty well set in there. Now you can see we have our seam down the back and we're totally joined. So this is the new front wall. And I think it's pretty good. So let me get this cleaned off and we'll move on to the next modification to this front wall. Okay, so now we have the front wall built, alright? So now we need to go back and we're going to cut off all these little extra things on here. These are from the casting. We can cut all those off. Now this side over here, okay, this building, the way the kit is made, there's another wall that goes on the side over here and it angles, so this is cut at a 45-degree angle right here. We don't want that anymore. I want them to be both straight edges like this side. And you can see that the 45 isn't here, but it is here. So what we need to do to start is we need to get rid of this 45 degree. So what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to add some styrene to this, okay? I'm going to put 2 pieces thick. I'm going to run these just past top and right to the bottom. Alright, so let's get the first one in here. It's going to create some sanding that needs to be done, but it will get rid of the 45 without losing too much of the material of the building. So we're going to put that on there like that. Okay. Nice and good in there. And then I'm going to cut this off. And I'm going to put another one on top of that, but a little more forward, so it'll be like a step. So let's lay this one on top of that one like this. Just like that. So, well, you can't really see it, but I'm looking at the front side and I can see the line of the styrene strip here. So what's going to happen is we're going to sand all that styrene down and it'll leave just a nice flat surface, same as this side, when it's done. So let me get this all in here, and we'll get some nice glue seepage through there so that it dries and the glue gets all the way down in, because we don't want this falling off during the sanding process. So now we can cut this one off like that, and that's all we need. So at this point I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let this piece dry up, let this totally dry, and then we're gonna hit it with the sandpaper, and we're gonna clean this up again, and that'll get rid of this little bevel and this angle in here. So we'll come back in a little bit when this is dry and we'll tackle the rest of this. In the meantime, so my idea for this place is, on this side, what I want is I want the car showroom, right? So I want this to be in here like this, if you can see that. So I want a car in here and I want a car in here in the showroom. And in order to do that, we're going to leave these alone over here, and then I want this side to be garage doors. So what I'm going to do is, if we look at the scale ruler, so we get the end scale ruler out, we can see how high these windows are. So that's 7 feet right there. But if we go all the way to the top here, we have, now we're going to go all the way to the bottom because I'm going to cut out this bottom rail. That's 12 feet. So down here, that's more like 8 feet. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to cut out this rail here too. So now we've got these as garage doors, and then I'm going to fill in, we're actually going to cut out, I think I'm going to cut out this top part and fill it back in. Maybe we can take these, I don't know, we'll have to look into that. Maybe I can take these and place these up on the top, up here. Yeah, that might be the thing to do. So now with a little bit of sanding to clean this up a little bit, we should be able to fit these two pieces right up into the top like this. And that'll lower down the garage door, and it gives the same, the bevels and molding that's in this carries out with the rest of this, so it all matches. So that's what we're going to do there. And this is a little wide, so what I want to do is I want to take out, I don't know that this shows on camera, but there's a little overhang right here that I want to clean all out here, and then up here as well, so that this will sit nice and flat right up in there. So I'm going to set this down for right now, and I'm going to let all this dry up, and then we'll come back in a little bit and see if we can't finish up the rest. Alright, so this has all had time to dry. I've let this sit for a while, and you can see I've kind of done a little bit more. I went back and I sanded this big plastic piece that we put in, and you can see how that came out. So this is what we're ending up with. So the 45 degree now is totally filled, right? And when it gets painted, that'll be totally invisible. So that's been taken care of. And then the other thing I've done is I cleaned out the rest of, I only did this one door here. So I cleaned all that out, and then I took the scrap piece that I cut off the bottom, right? So this was down here, and I just moved it up to the top here. And I'm going to do this one right now, and I'll show you the process that I did. So when you look at this, you can kind of see there's a piece that comes out here from the window that was there. It's on this side and on this side. So I'm just going to take my sprue cutters here, And I'm going to go in and I'm just going to cut that off. Now I just want to cut this way. Like that. Now we've got that all out of there. Now I just want to take a file here and I want to clean that all off. And then we just need to take care of this little top edge here. So that's going to go like that. Now there's a little nub left right here in the middle. And I'm just going to take my flat knife here and I'm going to go in here like this. And we're just going to trim that out of there. So pretty much just like that. That's what we're looking for. Now we're going to take that extra piece right here. I'm going to cut off the extra on the bottom. And then we're going to fit that right inside of here. Like this. Now you can see it doesn't fit. It leaves a pretty decent gap. But that's because we need to file this bottom here. And I'm going to take that on a piece of sandpaper and just drag it across that. So that'll go just like that. It's nice, pretty tight fit. I think we're okay with that. So I'm gonna lay that on my glass and we're gonna put that together. It's a little bit short, but we'll be okay anyway. I'll show you how we're gonna take care of that. So we get our glue here. Alright, so what's happening is it's sticking out the back a little bit. It's not quite flush in the back, which is fine. It's on the inside, and I will go back and we'll sand this smooth later. But for the time being, we're going to leave this like this. Now, when this hardens, I'm going to do this one right here. What I'm going to use is some filler. And we're going to fill in a little bit on there. So I'm going to take a little piece of paper and get rid of this. And I'm using auto body filler. I use the plastic model stuff, and I don't really like it. I like this stuff better. It's a little stronger. It has kind of, you know, a fairly decent odor. But it works really good. It dries better. I like it better. Whatever works for you is fine. So I'm going to take a little spreader here, and I'm just going to put a little bit in the gap here. Okay, so I finished filling the front of this, and you can see where I've gone with it. Now, a lot of this is going to be cleaned out. Most of this isn't even going to be here when we're done. And then the other thing I've done is I went across the back and I filled this seam that goes across here, and then I filled in the sides of all of these, between these two fill-in pieces on the back side as well, so that we don't have anything that, you know, shows where it doesn't, where it's not supposed to. So now we just need to let this dry, and then I can sand out and get rid of all the stuff that I don't want. I also filled the little rectangular seam up at the top when we added this side piece. I filled in a little bit on the side just to make sure. 90% of this, all this red, is going to go away. Alright, but it's going to take a few hours to dry. So I think this is a good point, at a good time in this video. I think we're going to call this one done for this week. I think we got a lot done. So you see how we're going. This is the two garage doors. This will be the entryway, and of course the 2 showroom windows. And we'll tackle in the next videos the sidewalls and the back. We're also going to put a floor in here. But this is the worst, the largest of the modifications that had to be done to this. And you see how I'm doing it. So yeah, I think we're going to call this video done. I'm not going to go any further for this week. I need to let all this dry and sand it. When we come back next week, this will be all sanded and cleaned. I don't think I need to show all that. It's just sanding, a little bit of sandpaper, maybe some file work, but mostly it's just sanding, just getting this all cleaned up nicely. And then this will be ready for primer. And then to be, we're ready also to put the rest of the walls in. So if you're just finding me and you're liking what you're seeing on this video here, please subscribe. Watch, hang out for the rest of the build here, and check out my other videos as well. There's lots that I've done, lots to look at. Love to have you along for the ride. So until next time, happy modeling.